Hey everyone, the GMG review. Today we're taking a look at Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Knights, the new release from Games Workshop of some big old multi-kits and a brand new codex for 10th edition Warhammer 40,000. Now these were kindly sent along as a complimentary review copy, and we're gonna check them out now. If you haven't been following along with this series, what's been happening in the world of Games Workshop is they've been doing basically a codex alongside a new kit for the last little while for 10th edition, making sort of the standardized sort of changes where you get additional detachments and some usually like new thing or two to kind of zhuzh up the army. The most recent one was Space Wolves. And of course the Chaos Knight, get this guy, the Knight RUINATOR, which definitely sounds like the thing Megatron is sure is going to take down Optimus Prime this time around when it forms up with its 4 friends to form Devastator. I don't actually know if that's the case, but the kinds of names that are coming out now they're getting very transformery. This is of course based upon design-wise the original Knight kit, the Knight Questoris kit, but has been retooled obviously with all of its cool chaos stuff in tow. This brand new weapon frame, these 2 brand new weapon frames right here, and the Chaos Knight frame. It's funny how like back in the day this would have just been like an accessory for a Knight's kit, but the Chaos Knights get their own entire new sort of like kit in the last 10 years, which is based upon the same one with the Psychic Knight with his like weird blasty cursed body. His leg sprue and chest sprue. And these are pretty close to the Imperial ones, but you can see here, there are some small differences like on the chainsword. And this is the same as the previous Chaos Knights kit, which was the one to initiate these changes on the Questoris Knight kit, basically securing the fact that the 2 kits were entirely separate and different. But I believe the RUINATOR does come with the alternate build options, or maybe it's just one instruction kit. No, there's the alternate instructions for making him as the not RUINATOR kit as well, because I believe the pieces are in here to make him the other style. So this is the RUINATOR one, and then the Abominant is the other one. So you get the instructions for both. The RUINATOR, of course, being the newest with his cool weapons. And then we get the Codex. The Chaos Knights Codex. Of course, if you don't know the background of these in Warhammer 40,000, the knightly households were sort of the nobility of the Mechanicum during the Horus Heresy, where there was these sort of like aristocratic families, and their horses, their steeds, instead of being actual steeds, were these Mechanicum-made knights, which were kind of tiny one-man titans where you would do your Pacific Rim drift into it. You would like commune with the spirit of it, become one with it, and these like sort of giant power armor suits were the ultimate expression of sort of warfare on the battlefield for a regular human. If you weren't an Astartes, you weren't like an augmented human. This was the way you augmented yourself to be able to fight at their level. And the knights, of course, were all kind of tied to different Mechanicum Titan legions, and they would like swear to them, and the Titans would be what they would fall around. So these were sort of the cavalry to the Titans, and would be at their feet doing the things they couldn't get them to do. And they themselves had their own little thralls, which were the minor like lesser knights. They're not like, they're barely knights. They're more pouted like sentinels, like giant sentinels. And they're the warhounds in the Chaos Knights sort of lore. House Divine, very famously, was one of the knights households that fell to Slaanesh, and we get the various backgrounds for some of the different Infernal Houses in here. We also get rules for Dreadblades, which are the free blade equivalent for Chaos. Dreadblades are basically knights whose households have been wiped out, and they've gone on their own as individual fighters. Some of them are even like possessed by demons and just gone off on their own sort of like infernal evil quests. And then the various different knights. So you have the Tyrants, the Abominants. I do love the art for these. The RUINATOR and the Despoiler, the Rampager and the Desecrator, and the War Dogs, which are the little baby guys. They're the smallest of the Chaos Knights. These are the Armiger class knights, which do sort of the bidding and are tied to the big ones. Some color section for House Lucaris, House Comentus. And they do fight with like their own weird twisted honor too. House Herpetrex, which is the kind of like almost Nurgly one. Chimere, Corvax. I love this one with the ravens. Vextrix, again, very Nurgly and like sort of decaying. And then a lovely color section, of course, to show you how to paint these guys. Now, this is an army where like, if you don't want to do, this is a small force of big models. It's kind of the ultimate expression of both luxury in Warhammer 40,000 and also opulence. If you own a knight army, you're investing a significant amount of money into playing the game, model to model, but you also get to do the sort of Timmy-like superpower of having the biggest, fightiest miniatures in the game as like your basic core guys. I do like the painting section in here where they show you how to use a sub-assembly. I can't remember seeing a Games Workshop paint guide be in a sub-assembly before, but this is great. They break down the knight into what to leave off in the sub-assembly and then what to paint separately and then how to put on afterwards, because this actually makes painting knights relatively quick. When you take their armor plates off and you just undercoat them all in like a Chaos Black and Lead Belcher spray, so much of your work's done for you and you save so much time, and you apply the plates later on. This is how I did all of my knights when I painted House Metallum. Yeah, so like very well done, very cool. I love this guy. The Entity Piloting Casket of Rot. So it's a Nurgle demon that's basically infested this knight. Lady Erasmia Drail piloting the Light of Hatred. And now we're into our rules. All right, so Harbingers of Dread. Again, this isn't going to be super new, but some of these will be slightly changed. If your army factions cast knights, each unit from your army with this ability gains the dread abilities. So all this stuff down here. Deathly Terror ability is active in your army from the start of the battle. In addition, at the start of the first, third, and fifth battle rounds, you either select one of the other dread abilities or randomly select 2 dread abilities to apply by rolling 2d6 and applying them results from those numbered 1 to 6. Any dread abilities that have been selected are active until the end of the battle. You cannot select the same one more than once, and any duplicate ones, if you randomly select them, have no additional effect. So usually what you want to do is roll for the first round and then pick. And that way you'll get 4 at the end of the game. Dreadblades, if every other model has the Chaos keyword, you can include 1 Titanic Knight or up to 3 War Dogs in your army as Dreadblades. And this is basically being able to take these guys as allies. And then Super Heavy Walker. Each time this model makes a normal advance or fallback move, it can move through models excluding Titanic models and sections of terrain that are 4 inches or less in height. And when doing so, you can move within engagement range, but can't end there. And it can also move through sections of terrain features that are more than 4 inches in height. But if it does, after it's moved, roll a d6 and on a 1, your battle shock, because you have to like crash through a wall to do so. So you start all the time with Deathly Terror. When I mean units within none of this model, worseness leadership characteristic by 1. And then you get to roll for the rest of these or pick a single one. You have Despair, so your same aura is cumulative, so Despair, so you're -2 leadership. Doom, each time a model in this makes an attack, if the target is battle shocked, you add 1 to the wound roll. Darkness, each time an attack is made against this model, if the attacking unit's more than 18 away, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So if you're like a standoff and shoot army, that one's great. Dismay, in the battle shock step of your opponent's command phase, for each enemy unit that is below its starting strength and within none of this model, they must make a battle shock test. So you can combine Dismay with Despair and Deathly Terror and like have this like super scary army. Delirium, when I mean that is below half strength is within 9 inches of this model. Each time they fail a battle shock test, they take D3 mortal wounds. And then Dominion, add 3 to your aura abilities. So basically, your knights get scarier and scarier, more chaosy. You can both buff and debuff them for melee stuff, but the aura effects are, I think, the most powerful thing here because you have such a low model count. Being different places, being able to battle shock stuff off of objectives. If it's not battle line and it can't like be sticky and hold them and like stay there, then you can really reduce your opponent's ability to score by making them make battle shock tests, making them take damage when they take battle shock tests. It also means they can't be targeted by stratagems and they can't hold objectives because they become OC 0. So those 3, increasing your aura range to 12, making them make a test every time, and then being -2, super powerful, especially late game. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different detachments here. The Traitoris Lance is the core one, Paragons of Terror. At the start of the first battle round, after selecting 1 or more dread abilities to be active for your army, you can select 1 additional dread ability to be active. So you get 2 to start with. This additional dread ability cannot be randomly selected. So basically, you could roll for 2 and then grab a 3rd one. And that's pretty powerful. I would probably just be sure and pick the +3 range, always make a battle shock test at -1. And then grabbing 2 more at random maybe, or just grabbing the Doom for the additional -1. That's a huge ability. The taking damage from it is cool, but the always making tests and stacking the mods is crazy. I love that for this ability because late game, you're just having this giant 12-inch aura on these huge bases that keep people having to make battle shock tests all the time. And then your enhancements, Nightmare's Master for a Knight model. At the start of the, so no armigers. At the start of the fight phase, each enemy unit with engagement range must make a battle shock test. So double that down. Again, going with Paragons of Terror. Tyrant's Shadow. Chaos Knight models only. At the end of your command phase, select one objective marker that bears within range of and that you control. It remains under your control. So basically, you become kind of like Battle Line. Malevolent Heraldry. Chaos Knights only. Each time you roll a dice to randomly select which dread ability they're active. If the bear is on the battlefield, you can reroll one of the or both results. Again, pretty handy if you want to try and get to all 6. And then Veil of Medregard. Chaos Knights only. The bear has a 4+ invul against ranged attacks and a 5+ in melee. All super powerful. I think if you're leaning into the Battle Shock one, actually the Malevolent Heraldry might even be cooler because then you could get 3 at the beginning of the game and just have the full stack of like debuff leadership on all your knights. Strats, Terror Shades. When any phase, just after you fail a Battle Shock test, and the target's a Chaos Knight unit from your army that's within 12 of the enemy unit, so then it's going to stack with the extended aura range and all that other stuff. Roll 66 for every 4+, take a mortal wound, and one of your units regains a lost wound. And it's anyone, one model in your unit, so anyone. One of your straight Chaos Knights, not your Armigers, but one of your guys can like suck up souls. Love this ability. If you're gonna bing bang boom, honestly, I think your Warlord takes Malevolent Heraldry, you roll for the first one, pick the other one, and then you've got maybe the full stack as you reroll. You've got basically 4 dice chancing it. And it doesn't say you reroll them both at the same time. You can reroll one, then reroll the other and see what you get. But yeah, you're trying to get the full stack. You're trying to get 1, 4, and 6. So whichever one you don't get, you have 2 chances to get 1 and 4, and then or 6. You're trying to roll for half the dice here, and then you can pick the one you didn't find. Conquerors Without Mercy. Fight phase. Target 1 Chaos Knight model from your army that made a charge move this turn that has not been selected to fight this phase. And the effect is until the end of the phase, improve the armor penetration of your melee weapons by 1. After you're finished making your attacks, if you destroy one or more enemy units, each enemy unit within 6 must make a Battle Shock test. So again, always taking the -2 and hopefully the extend range. Disdain for the Weak. Fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets, 1 Chaos Knight unit from your army that was selected as the target of one or more of your attacking units' attacks. Until the end of the phase, models in your unit have Feel No Pain 6+ and 5 against attacks made by Battle Shocked units. This all leans into the dread abilities so well. Long Leash, your command phase. Target an abhorrent unit from your army and up to 2 friendly War Dogs. Effect until the start of your next command phase. Those War Dog units are treated as being within range of your aura abilities that your abhorrent has. Imperious Advance in your movement or charge phase, up to 2 War Dog units from your army or 1 Titanic unit. Until the end of your phase, each time a model in one of your units makes a move, it can move through models and terrain features. When doing so, it can move in an engaged range but can't end there. And any Desperate Escape attempts are automatically passed. So basically you just walk through stuff. Even better than you already do. And then Storm of Darkness. When your opponent's shooting phase, just after an enemy unit selected its targets, and target a Cat Knight unit from your army that was selected as the target of the attack. Until the end of the phase, models in your unit have a stealth ability, and you count as being in cover. So love this one because it just synergizes so well with the core army ability. All right, the Infernal Lance. This is the kind of like corrupted by the scrap code / demons one. Your detachment rule is Malefic Surge. In your command phase, 1 or more units of Chaos Knights in your army can make a Malefic Surge. Each one that does so must make a leadership test, and if it's failed, take D3 mortal wounds. Then, until the start of your next command phase, you're empowered. While you're empowered, you can use one of these surge abilities below. Only that unit can use it. It's no longer empowered. So like once you basically blow through the power and use it, then it's gone for the turn. Unholy Hunger, add 3 to your move characteristic for a normal advance or fallback move. Diabolic Power, when this unit is selected to shoot or fight, select either the lethal hits or sustained hits 1 ability, and your weapons have that ability. And then a Natural Fortitude, when this unit is selected as a target of an attack until the end of the phase, models in the unit have 5+ invul and Feel No Pain 6. And then your enhancements, Knight Diabolus, Chaos Knights model only, improve the weapon skill characteristic of the melee weapons by 1, and you get the Lance ability while you're using Diabolic Power. So you get lethal hits or sustained hits plus Lance. And then Blasphemous Engine, Chaos Knights only, add 2 to the bearer's wounds characteristic, and each time the bearer's unit makes a Malefic Surge, you can roll the leadership test to see if you suffer any mortal wounds. Flesh Metal Fusion, Chaos Knights only, add 1 to the bearer's toughness, and while the bearer is using the Unnatural Fortitude ability, each time an attack with a damage characteristic of 1, you add 1 to your saving throws. So basically you get +1 save against damage when weapons. And Bestial Aspect, Chaos Knights model only, the bearer's ranged weapons have the Assault ability, and while the bearer is using the Unholy Hunger ability, it can ignore any and all modifiers to its move characteristic and or advance rolls made for the unit. So all of these are kind of like actual power-ups to your model. Obviously, +1 toughness is amazing. +2 wounds is also amazing. And then your strats, Profane Symbiosis, end of any phase. 1 Chaos Knights unit from your army that is not empowered can make a Malefic Surge. And you can't select the same unit as the target of stratagem more than once per battle round. Hellforged Construction, when in the fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. The target is 1 Chaos Knight unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. And the effect is until the end of the phase, each time an attack targets your unit, worsen its AP characteristic by 1. So kind of, Armor of Contempt. Corrupting Taint. Yikes. When your command phase, just after a Chaos Knight's character unit from your army makes a Malefic Surge, target the Chaos Knight's character unit. So basically this is going to be your Warlord. The effect is select 1 objective marker your unit's within range of that you control, and that objective marker remains under your control until your opponent's level of control over that objective is greater than that. So basically you get battle line. Unleash Balefire. It's a shooting phase ability, 1 Chaos Knight unit from army that hasn't shot yet, and the effect is after the unit is shot, select 1 enemy unit hit by 1 or more of the attacks, and they must make a battle shock test. If the test has failed until the end of your opponent's next turn, it's a flame, and it's -2 move and -2 from charge rolls while it's on fire. Warp Vision. In your shooting phase, 1 Knights unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. And the ability, ranged weapons equipped by the model have the Ignore Cover ability. And then Diabolic Bulwark. In your shooting phase, just after your opponent has selected you as a target in your opponent's shooting phase, 1 Chaos Knight from your army that was targeted, and you have a 4+ invul. So you can get a 4+ invul. You can ignore cover. Most of these are about buffing your attacks and or making you more defendable against attacks. So you really are like this possessed, the tides of the warp are infusing your guys, and it kind of rides along that theme. All right, Lords of the Dread, the big guys. Improve the OC characteristics of Knights character models in your army by 2. In addition, once per battle, if your Warlord's in the battlefield, you can use the Claimed for the Dark God stratagem for 0 CPs, which is this one over here. Start of any phase, 1 Chaos Knight character unit from your army that's within range of 1 or more objective markers. Select 1 of those objective markers, and that objective marker remains under your control with a control level of 5 until somebody goes over it. So not only is it controlled, it's like cursed, basically. That's cool. And once per battle round, you can just do that for free. So you can just claim these things, and then they have to send more than 5 guys over to take it away. Enhancements, you get 6 of them. So the Throne of Mechanicum Skulls. Chaos Knight model only. You can reroll charge rolls made for the bearer's unit. In addition, once per battle in your charge phase, you can use this enhancement. If it does so until the end of the phase, the bearer's unit's eligible to declare a charge even if they advance. The Blade of Celerity for your Knights models. The bearer's range weapons have the assault ability. In addition, once per battle in the fight phase, the bearer can use this enhancement. If it does so until the end of the phase, models in the bearer's unit have the fight first ability, so you get to strike before everybody else. And then Warpborn Stalker. Chaos Knights model only. The bearer has the deep strike ability. So you just walk through like a sling ring Doctor Strange door. In addition, once per battle at the end of your opponent's turn, if the bearer is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, you can remove it and put it back in strategic reserve. So basically you can deep strike in, then door out, and then door back in again, which is very cool. That's the end of your opponent's turn. So you can just like leave after they had a chance to fight you. Putrid Carapace, you get a 2+ save. In addition, once per battle at the start of the player's command phase, the bearer can use this enhancement and regain D6 lost wounds. Mirror of Fates for a Chaos Knight model. Once per battle round, you can target this bearer with the command reroll for 0 CPs and can do so even if another unit's already done so. In addition, once per battle, just after your opponent uses a strat, the bearer is in the battlefield, it can use this enhancement. If it does, until the end of the phase, CP costs for your opponent must pay are increased by 1. And then Blessing of the Dark Master, Chaos Knights only. The bearer has stealth. In addition, once per battle, you can make a saving throw for the bearer and change the damage to 0 if you fail it. The 5 other strats, one of which is 2, the rest are 1. Spiteful Demise, basically once you're destroyed, the knight's character unit is the target. When rolling to see if you did Deadly Demise, you do it automatically, and you inflict mortal wounds on a 4 instead of a 6. Oh, sorry, not automatically. It's on a 4+ instead of a 6+. Runes of Disdain for 2. Target your character that was selected as a target of the attacking unit's attacks in the opponent's shooting phase or fight phase. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack is allocated to a model in that unit, subtract 1 from its damage. So imagine being 2+ save, -1 damage. And then Titanic Duel. In your shooting phase or fight phase, target a Chaos Knight character unit from your army that hasn't selected to shoot or fight yet this phase, and select 1 monster or vehicle unit. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets them, reroll a hit roll of 1 and a wound roll of 1. Each time a model in the unit makes an attack against something that's Titanic, reroll the hit and reroll the wound rolls instead. So all your misses. Trophy Hunter for 1. When you fight in the fight phase, just before you consolidate, target a Chaos Knight's character unit, and until the end of the phase, each time you consolidate, you can move an additional 3 inches as long as your unit can end that move within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, because you're just piling in as far as you can. And then finally, Crushed Like Vermin. In your movement phase, just after the Chaos Knight's character unit from your army has made a normal move, select that unit, and select 1 enemy unit excluding monsters and vehicles that your unit moved over during that move, and roll 6d6. For each 4+, that enemy unit suffers a mortal wound. If 1 or more models are destroyed as a result of the stratagem, that enemy unit must make a battle shock test. So basically you have like an overrun trample kind of an attack. So this one's all about your warlord, making your warlord super powerful, and then obviously getting him all these extra strats to try and fight. And then this one's for the little guys, the armigers. So the detachment rule is Marked Prey. At the start of your command phase, select 1 unit from your opponent's army. Until the start of your next command phase, each time a war dog model from your army makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, if the unit is visible, they get sustained hits 1. And then keyword, your army must include 3 or more war dogs. War dogs gain battle line. And when mustering your army, select 3 war dogs from your army. Until the end of the battle, they have character keyword. And this means that the selected units can have enhancements as if they were the warlord. So they can be given enhancements, and one of them can be the warlord. So Prey Slayer's Mantle for a war dog, they become a super heavy walker, and they can like slam through things. Final Howl for a war dog. While the friendly war dog model is within 6, each time the model makes an attack, reroll wound rolls of 1. Loping Predator, war dogs only, you get the assault rule on your weapons. And then Panoply of the Cursed Knights, war dog only, when someone attacks you, worsen their arm penetration by 1. Strats, one of them is 2 CPs, the rest are 1. This one's 2, it's the Vox Howl. At the start of your shooting phase or fight phase, target 1 war dog character unit, and each enemy unit within 6 of that unit must make a battle shock test. Each friendly war dog unit within 6 of that unit and that is battle shocked must make a leadership test. If it's passed, they're no longer battle shocked. So the war dogs become unbattle shocked, you become battle shocked. You can only use this once per turn. And then Hungry for Combat, start of the fight phase. Target 2 or more war dogs from your army that are engagement range of the same enemy unit, and select 1 enemy unit within engagement range of the war dogs. Until the end of the phase, models in that war dog unit can only target that enemy unit. But each time a model in that unit makes an attack, a 5+ is a critical hit. Cunning Hunter. In your movement phase, just after a war dog unit falls back, target the war dogs until the end of the turn. Your unit's eligible to shoot and declare a charge on a turn in which it fell back. And then Animalistic Rage. When your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase, just after a war dog unit from your army is destroyed, that war dog unit, you can use the stratagem on that unit even though it was just destroyed. And before resolving your unit's deadly demise, it can either shoot or fight. So it's like a shoot and fight on death. After it's done so, any consolidation moves have been made, resolve your deadly demise. So you can blow up after you've like piled in even. And then Harrying Hounds, when your opponent's movement phase, just after they've made a normal advance or fallback move, target a war dog unit within 9 of them, and you can make a normal move up to 6. And then Encircling Pack, end of your opponent's fight phase, target a war dog unit from your army that's wholly within 12 of 1 or more battlefield edges, not in engagement range. Remove them from the battlefield and put them in strategic reserves. So it's the all Houndpack Lance. So you just run all kinds of armigers and have one be your warlord and 3 are characters. And then there's our data sheet. So the Tyrant, which is the big guy, and 28 wounds, 5+ invul against range attacks only. Deadly Demise D6+2, Harbinger of Dread, super heavy walker. Friendly war dog models within 6, they have cover because of the Infernal Aegis. And Bastion of Corruption, you can't reinforce within 12 of it. I love the name of these guns too. Dark Flame Volcano Cannon. Sorry, Brimstone Volcano Cannon. Strength 20. And then that's Dark Flame Cannon, which ignores cover and has Torrent. 3d6 shots, strength 8, -1, 2 damage. And an Ectoplasma Decimator, because this is just the chaosy names for things. Geist Strike Missile Launchers. Your Despoiler, which is kind of your standard knight. Dread Dominion, when friendly war dog models within 9, improve the war dog model's leadership and OC by 1. And Seething Hatred. Each time this model is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 hit roll and 1 wound roll when resolving those attacks. And he gets the Melt-A-Gun, Thermal Cannon, Battle Cannon, Gatling Cannon, Heavy Stubber, Missile Pod, Dark Flame, Autocannons, and Rocket Pod. You can take a Reaper Chainsword, strength 14, -4, 6 damage. You can also sweep with it for 2 damage, and the Warp Strike Claw with 8 damage at strength 20, hitting on 3s. or the sweep at strength 3. So cool. The Abominate, your psychic one, it gets its Battle Mace and Electro Scourge, the Volkite Combustor, and Vortex Terror is psychic. At the start of your shooting phase, select one enemy unit within 24 invisible to make a battle shock test. So man, if you're putting him in the core Lance, Dread Lance, you're forcing so many battle shock tests. Warp Storm, psychic at the end of your movement phase, roll a d6 for every enemy within 9. On a 3+, the enemy suffers d3 mortal wounds. Just a terrifying explosion of psychic powers. Love that guy. And here's our new guy, the Ruinator. Same core stat line as a knight. Dark Flame Lance, strength 8, -1, 2 damage. And Terror Pulse missiles, 2d6 shots. It hits on 3s, strength 8, -2, 2 damage. I love the Torrent Dark Flame Lance. It's very cool. And the Terror Pulse missiles are just neat. But then you get your Fellbore, which is your big mace. Anti-monster 2+, anti-vehicle 2+, 4 attacks, strength 3, sorry, hit on 3s, strength 14, -3, 6 damage. And the Fellbore sweep is 10 attacks at 3+, strength 9, -2, 2 damage. So just a real Space Marine killer. And he's, no options, you just build him as he is. He's got Methodical Destruction at the start of the first battle line, so like 1 unit from your opponent's army to be this model's victim. Each time you attack the victim, you can reroll the wound roll. Each time this model's victim is destroyed, pick a new one. And then close range killers. While the friendly War Dog model is within 9, each time the War Dog model makes an attack that targets the enemy that's closest, improve its AP by 1. So he's a pack leader basically for knights. I don't know, he's neat. He's not as cool as the Abominant, but this kit makes the Abominant too, so who cares? Abominants are awesome. And then the Knight Desecrator, which is your other sort of like double gun version. It's like your not your double gun version, your double melee weapon one. Laser Destructor and Diabolos Heavy Stubber. He's got a Reaper Chainsaw, Web Strike Claw. So he's got his 72-inch range Laser Destructor, his Super Laser Cannon. 18 -4, D6 +3. Obsessive Ruthlessness. Each time he's targeting a monster or vehicle, he gets devastating wounds. And Taskmaster, while friendly War Dog models within 9, reroll hit rolls of 1. The Rampager is your double melee guy. He's basically your Crusader, or not Crusader, what you call him, the Princeps one. And this guy's your double melee one, so obviously it's got the Chainsaw and the Warp Strike Claw. Has Bloodlust. When it charges, it gets devastating wounds on its melee weapons. And Frenzied Rampage, while friendly War Dog models within 9, each time it makes a melee attack, reroll hit rolls of 1. And then the Huntsman, the Executioner, and the Brigand. These are all your different versions of War Dogs. The Executioner is the autocannon one, the heavy multi-melta one with the melee weapon. The Reaper Chain Cannon or Talon is the Huntsman. And the Brigand, with his Avenger Chain Cannon, Demon Breath Spear, he's the double guns one with armored feet. So the Huntsman has each time the attack targets a monster or vehicle, reroll the wound roll. The Executioner has each time you attack a unit that's below half strength, add 1 to the hit roll. And when you enemy unit's destroyed before moving the last model in that unit, each unit from your opponent's army within 3 must make a battle shock test. You just murder them so bad. And the Brigand gets each time this model makes a range attack that targets a unit within range of 1 or more objectives, it has ignore cover. I love his little bird, his little vulture. It's so cool. Stalker is the chain cannon melee one with the claw, and then the double melee one's the carnivore. Stalker gets each time this model makes an attack that targets an enemy unit. If there's no other units from your opponent's army within 6 of it, add 1 to the wound roll because he's going to go after guys who are by themselves. And then carnivore is reroll advance and charge rolls, and he's got the chain talon and the slaughter claw. Strength 12 -3, D6 +2 damage. Things are super dangerous no matter what they are. I love that they do a weapon ID thing in these books now, so you can tell what's what when you're looking at your models. Really handy, even for your opponent and for you. And you get some Crusade rules, because these books all come with this now. So the idea here is that you're basically picking one of the main sort of paths for you to follow to amass power, either for the Dark Gods, Idolator Influence, or War Dog Domination. So Dark Gods is those blessed by the Dark Gods can enter into a powerful pact of damnation to get potent abilities. The Idolator influences leaders have curried goodwill amongst the ranks of the Idolators who have access to powerful new battle traits. And War Dog Domination, the War Dog pilots in the force have been firmly dominated by fallen noble masters or pack alphas, letting them form into large hunting packs. And the 5 levels of standing for each power base, these are your power bases, is hostile, distrustful, wary, cautious alliance, and aligned interests. So the gods, the idolators, and the war dogs all basically start at a certain level. When your crusade force begins to amass power, select one of the following allegiances, either Iconoclast House, Infernal House, or Dreadblades, and make a note of your order of battle. The starting standing level is based upon what you choose. So if you are an Iconoclast, right, you'll be here. You'll have hostile dark gods, wary idolators, and distrustful war dogs, right? So it's basically where is the hostile stuff and who you're going to try and dominate. Gaining standing levels, each time you win a battle, select one power base and increase its standing by 1. Then roll a d6 for each other power base, and on 1 to 2, reduce that power's base power level by 1. Each time you draw or lose, roll a d6, and on 1 to 3, randomly select a power base and have its standing reduced by 1. So the more you win, the more stuff goes up, it might go down. And then you get all your different offerings. So this is the stuff that can become better. Like your legs can get flesh metal servo tendons for 2 extra move and reroll advance and charge. Your arms can get soul sight oculums. You can ignore all modifiers, triple skill, and hit rolls. The torso can get an ion cowl when making ranged attacks with its blast weapons. This model can target units in engagement range. And demonic possessor for its head. Once per battle, if you fail battle strike test, you just don't, because the demon takes over. And then your war dogs basically can be formed into packs, kind of like units. Gain bonuses, requisitions, get a new knight if it's too damaged, vile reworkings, you can re-equip and rearm your guys. And the gods can give you boons too. So like minor dark boons are things like Wrathful Aura, double your OC. Major ones could be like an Ensorcelled Shield to gain a 4+ invul against range and feel no pain 6+. Different battle scars. Cool relics like the Balestorm Eye. You get the Dread ability. You get all of them, regardless of which ones your army currently has. Then you get your different badges for winning the campaign. And that's it. I like this one because it's super easy to keep track of. Like your agendas are basically just like have power with the power base under which your knights like have to live and operate. Because the knights are these super powerful, you know, like machine entities that you're you know equipped with, but you yourself need to be supported by things to get you to and from the battle and to fight and hold objectives. And there's our point costs. Abominant 405. They're actually way less points than they used to be. I think the war dogs are the closest to being the old point values. But everything under 400, so like, or under 500, sorry. And a lot of things at or under 4. I think even the Tyrant's only 435, and he's huge. But I love that Abominant. So cool. You know, you'd be looking at, if you take 4 knights, you're looking at like 1,600-ish points. And then that leaves you room for 3 huntsmen, some combination of 3 huntsmen. Yeah, that's usually what you're going to see. 2 to 3 war dogs and full range of 4 different knights, like leading them. So 6 super heavy vehicles running around, beating things up. So what do I think? Man, the Chaos Knights books are both less complicated than they used to be because like the variation and options are obviously reduced from 9th edition and 8th edition. But also equally flavorful. I like that there's still so much in here for the Crusade players to play Crusade with. I do think if you're playing Knights in a Crusade army, like I would take them as allies, not as like my main force. It's just not that interesting. But beautiful modeling options. The model kits are fantastic. Even if they only build like a couple different variations, this one makes 2 of the different Knights. And I love the fact that they lean into the theme of like dominating the war dogs and being these like big sort of like bully piece in the battlefield. So if you're looking for, you know, the evil version of the Knights to fight like with a huge powerhouse in Warhammer 40,000, this is probably the army for you. And weirdly, I do think that like, this is an investment. This is probably like $2,000 Canadian for the army when it's all said and done, because each of these kits is roughly $300. So you're looking at $1,200 for the 4 Knights plus another, I think probably $200 to $300 for the war dogs. Like $1,500 for the army. Paints, codexes, and all that stuff on top of it, you know, round up to $1,000. But it's a keeper army, you know what I mean? It looks great in the battlefield. It's super fun and easy to play. It's relatively, having played Knights a lot, the Imperial side of it in 8th and 9th edition, they're relatively low stress. You don't have to worry about combos so much. They're all pretty like easy as far as like a first army in Warhammer 40,000, because it's just like 6 or 7 big power pieces on the table. They do a satisfying amount of damage. Are they good in the current edition of the game? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I do think that the wombo of like just auraing out all kinds of battle shock tests seems interesting and is probably pretty powerful. But yeah, time will tell. So there it is. Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Knights. And of course, if you're looking for fun modeling options, this stuff's on pre-order today. You can check it out on the GW site. Thanks for them sending along to review. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for Mash.